welcome to our local politics forum and fair at CSI. Welcome and thank you for attending CSI's City Council Candidate Forum and Local Politics Fair. I'm so glad to see you here today. I was recording a podcast this morning with a local person, and we were talking about trust in government. And you might know that over the last many decades, trust in government has gone like this. When they ask people, do you believe that the federal government most or all the time does what's in your interest? No, like 19% of people today say yes. That is true of most of our institutions. But one of the ones that is still somewhat robust in trust amongst people is local government institutions. Yet, we have this disconnect between people saying they have high levels of trust, yet low levels of participation, right? And so part of my goal here today is to encourage higher participation in our upcoming election for the public good, but also because my students staff a precinct with me, and when only 50 people show up to vote, we're very sad. So encourage your neighbors to go vote. With that in mind, we're just gonna have a short forum here today before we dismiss people out to the lobby, where hopefully we'll get to ask your more specific questions, collect campaign information, maybe sign a ballot initiative or join volunteer with a party if that's your interest. We've got multiple different groups and individuals out there. During our forum, we're just going to go seat by seat. There's 3 competitive seats on the ballot. There's some sample ballots out there if you want to take a look. There's also one other seat that's up this year, but it's uncontested. I don't know if that person's here today, but if they are, I'm sure you can find them out in the lobby, but they won't appear on your ballot due to some recent changes in Idaho law. Today I'm going to ask each group of candidates as they come up and take a seat the same set of very simple questions. Who are you? Tell us a little bit about who you are. Why do you want to serve on Twin Falls City Council? And assuming we have a little time, I will also ask them, what do you think the top 1 or 2 issues facing Twin Falls is? And even better, can you offer some solutions? So with that in mind, just going in numeric order, I'd like to bring up the candidates for seat 2 to take a seat. Thank you for being first. I'm going to come in between you and give you the mic. We do have some filming, so if you could speak directly to the mic, that would be great.
I'm good before.
Do you want me to?
And I was told I was the one that couldn't make any jokes. All right.
I'll turn it over to you. Who you are, why do you want to be on Twin Falls City Council, and then a couple top issues facing the city. And if you want to do the introductions first and then come back to that third one, feel free to do that too, however you want to manage your 15 minutes.
You want to just crank it all out at once? Okay. So I'm Grayson Stone. I was a resident here in Twin Falls, born and raised. My parents are Laird and Vicky. Ironically, it's my mother's 32nd, 28th birthday today. So happy birthday to you, Mom. I originally went to Wabash College on a wrestling scholarship, came back to the University of Idaho, and then wanted to start life somewhere outside of my roots. Wanted to go see what else was out there. Ended up down in New Mexico, in Carlsbad, New Mexico. I was working as a firefighter, paramedic, rescue diver down there, and thought I had the coolest job in the world. Thought I put enough love repellent on me, and then I met my wife. And we decided we wanted to raise a family, and the best place we decided to raise a family was Twin Falls, Idaho. You know, growing up, we didn't have too many options outside of, I always make the joke of going down to Kelly's and grabbing a sandwich at Kelly's. And thanks to a lot of people in the audience, I'm looking at Leon, I'm looking at Don Hall, I'm looking at Ruth Pierce, for their continued efforts in making the community a place where we would want to come back to, a place that we could bring our kids back to. And we've since done so. We've come back, the Ashton Bretters have come back, the Irwins have come back, McBrides have come back. So my whole campaign is simply based upon keeping the momentum going. Keeping the momentum going of the past 10 years. And in doing so, we're going to be faced with a lot of challenges surrounding growth, specifically in the area. And in my eyes, those 3 categories fall under what I call FIT. Our first responders, our infrastructure, and our transportation. We need to be on the lookout for ways that we can expand and further support our first responders, make sure that as we continue to grow as a community, and we're building more stations, and congratulations to the existing city council for the groundbreaking, not the groundbreaking, but the opening on Station 2. the first station they've opened since the 1970s. That's a huge accomplishment. So I would say give a round of applause for Mayor Pierce for that. But continuing that growth and continuing that support as we continue to grow, we know our infrastructure is definitely needing some help, and we're putting that on a lot of our private developers. As we look to the northwest from the city of Twin Falls, we're landlocked there by ag, which we should be because we're an ag-based community. We go to the northeast and we've got the preserve that's all rock. We can't really build out there. We go to the southeast, we're already leaning on Kimberly. And then we go to the southwest. In the southwest, we've got a lot of sloping issues that go to Rock Creek Canyon, and then that's going to involve a lot of private lift stations. But that's where our growth capabilities are going to be at. That's going to involve probably about a $3 million plus investment on our infrastructure coming from Muni all the way down to Orchard. And we're going to have to figure out how we're going to find those funds. Transportation-wise, we all know the ongoing conversation regarding Third Bridge. I think the city of Twin Falls needs to play a major role in those discussions. I know our county commissioners, Don Hall and Jack Johnson, who are here today, they've done a great job of advocating for that and making sure that that's in the right position. Assuming that that goes down Eastland, that then becomes the city of the Twin Falls. And we're going to have some major issues and traffic flows that doesn't resolve our problems. So we need to make sure we're being positive advocates for where that third bridge crossing goes. The other thing we need to really focus on is, right now we're struggling with those medians along pole line. Granted that pole line's got ITD has authority on pole line. We need to look at maybe expanding those roadways and get rid of those medians. It's just in kind of summation, it's about first responders, infrastructure, and transportation. So, what do you got, Tato?
Well, my name is Tato Munoz. Actually, my name is Gerardo, but I'm best known by Tato. And I'm actually what you would call a foreign-born Idahoan, because I was actually born in Colombia, in South America. And my wife and I went to school over at Texas A&M, and we met there. And actually, our first year of marriage, we actually celebrated it here in Twin Falls, and that was 29 years ago. And so we're actually coming up on our 30th year anniversary of marriage. She got a job teaching at CSI, and she's been a professor at CSI for, 29 years now. So that was the main reason we moved here. When we heard that we were going to be working in Idaho, that we were going to be living in Idaho, we were like, well, first of all, where is Idaho? Back then, there was no Google or anything else to look up, so we had to go to the old road atlas and open the old road atlas, and that makes me a little busy. But we had to open that road atlas and expand it and look, and it's like, oh my God, it's up there. We had it confused like everybody else with Ohio or Iowa. But we finally came to a realization that this is a very special place. We have grown in this community. We have two wonderful kids that were born and raised in this community. Some members of the community have interacted with them. Our oldest worked at the city pool as one of the lifeguards. Our youngest one works with community cakes, making cakes for people in nursing homes and in elderly care, or any of those other different things, people that do not have anybody to take care of them when it's their birthday. So they are committed to our community, and they have seen this place grow, and we have seen this place grow. When I came to Twin Falls, we had 25,000 people in the city. Now we have one over 52,000, and that brings up the reason why I think, the main reason that I'm running for city council. Sorry, I wasn't planning on serving for close to 13 years, and I'm currently also on the impact fee committee, which addresses some of those infrastructure things and maintaining those levels of service that we have on the infrastructure. But the main reason why I think that is the growth of this city that has brought up all those issues. We were us to present some of the issues that the city has to face, and all those issues are related to that growth. And I'm not one to say that we shouldn't grow, because I come from a city that had 3 million people, so I've been in huge cities. I went to school at Texas A&M, at College Station. Bryan College Station had over 150,000 people in that area, so it was a pretty good, decent size. So, and I lived in Houston, which we all know is a huge city. So I have seen the different impacts of different places. I've also lived, my family has a little farm in Texas, in this little town with 200 people. So, I mean, I've seen all the different sizes and all the different challenges that every single one of those stages presents. I also come from a different culture, and I see the growth in Twin Falls as a culture integration. You know, when we bring different people to the city, when we bring other things, and we want to grow as a city, we cannot stay stagnant. I mean, a lot of people would say that we need to, you know, let's keep it at 50,000 and let's build borders around Twin Falls and let's not let it grow anymore. This is our farm community, and it is our farm community, but growth is what's happening. I mean, this is a supporting community that supports other communities around, and without this community growing, those other communities are also gonna fail, and all those other communities are also gonna go down. And so our economy, the way our economy works is we need to have the growth of this main supporting city in order to be able to do it. But we cannot have just crazy growth. We have to have planned growth. We have to have a structured growth. I was blessed to be part of the last 2 comprehensive plans that the city put together. I was one of the advisors for both of those comprehensive plans, and looking at the different infrastructure of the city and how it's put together and everything else, and recognizing that we went to the people, we went to the citizens of Twin Falls and said, what is it that you value? And asking that question first, what is it that you value as a citizen, was critical for us to be able to put those comprehensive plans together, because we cannot put a comprehensive plan based on what we think the growth will need. We need to put a comprehensive plan together based on what our community values and what those values of that community are. And so we need to continue those values around. The Impact Fee Committee, which I'm part of, also takes care of some of that infrastructure and supporting that infrastructure. For those of you that are not aware what an impact fee is fees that are charged on construction of new developments and everything else, in order to offset and actually to maintain the level of service that we have. A good example is if, the new fire station that was built. That was a lot of the money used to build that fire station came from those impact fees, because it was a plan in order to maintain with the growth of our city. We needed to have that to be able to support the number of houses and the number of residents. The same thing with the police, which is another of the infrastructure aspects that our the Impact Fee Committee takes care of. Parks, we also need to maintain the level of service that we have. Believe it or not, Twin Falls has one of the largest park per citizen, park area per citizen in the nation. So we are very blessed because we have beautiful places and we need to preserve those. And part of that impact fee is actually to maintain that same level of service that we have. We cannot use those impact fees to improve the level of service, but we can use them to maintain that level of service. And I think in the past, that level of service was perfect. So if we maintain it at that level, we'll be okay. Some of the other issues that this growth has brought up is housing, because we all want the new companies, well, we don't necessarily want the new companies, but we want the new jobs and the new paid jobs. But in order for that to happen, we need to have the bigger companies, and in order for those companies to happen, then we need to have a place to host some of the people. So I'm actually giving the
white good warning.
the one single minute, but anyway. Just really, my ultimate goal is to pay back to the city. I've grown into this city. I met a lot of wonderful people, and this city has given me what I am today. I worked for the Elements Bank for 25 years. I had a wonderful job. I've been accepted everywhere. And it's my duty as a citizen to pay back my family. And ultimately, the only favor that I ask for every one of you is to vote, because I don't think you can do wrong. I mean, with Grayson or with me, just whoever it is that you're gonna vote, just vote.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thanks. Next up, if C3 folks would come forward. Hello.
Hello. I'm going to sit here just in case we...
Because I think we'll come to you first in case the youngest citizen in the room might want to get off stage.
Oh.
All right, just a reminder, since we have three, let's
There's
take
someone
it.
doing time or like...
I'll
please?
signal you when you're 5 minutes, I'll give you a 1 when you're 1 minute away from your 5 minutes. So who we are why we want to be on city council, and 1 or 2 issues that you think are especially pertinent for Twin Falls City.
Thank you. Thank you, Perri. Is this on?
You can discuss it directly into it.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Thank you, Perri, and thank you for hosting this at CSI, and thank you to for also running. This is my 3rd time running, and I can't say I come to the race with an affluent name or a recognizable family or any kind of roots like that. And really, Twin Falls is so diverse that it should really include the perspectives, the voice, the thought diversity of so many people. That's me, Anjali. My background, very quickly I'll tell you, is we were resettled, my family, to Twin Falls as refugees in the 90s, escaping the Soviet Union, where it was very well known for very low trust with government and very little say in the way of life. Partly the issue there, and still in Russia, the issue in a lot of those republics is there's the influence of big business, oligarchy, and private money in the space of democratic say. And as someone who's lived through that, and my mom who's locking up with the baby here, she's also a CSI employee of 20 years, so applaud her for that, because people don't stay at their jobs that long anymore. Just seeing that creeping overreach of special interest groups, lobby groups, associations, big business, even in local government throughout America, and definitely here in Twin Falls, is something that really concerns me, because I'd like to live in a country still where we, the people, are the ones that have a say over the kind of government that we have, and it serves us. And that my children grow up in that kind of America as well. And I don't think a lot of Americans are paying attention to what is happening at the local level, what is happening at the state level. And even with Citizens United and having special interests play a role in influencing local outcomes, that is something that not only infringes on our individual rights, private property, and the use of how our tax money is allocated and how it's used, but it really is eroding the country that we're so proud to live in. It's these short-term gains at the detriment of having the freest society in the world pretty much turn into special interest run government. And if we don't think it can happen here, it's already happened here. So I don't come from that kind of background like some of the names that Grayson has mentioned. I come from entry-level, working class family. Both my parents, custodians, they built the roof over our head and brought the food on the table so that I could get an education. I think I'm the only candidate who actually went and got an education, 2 associates and 2 bachelors in not only public management and economy, but also political science and trade, and also specialty with international scene. And so not only having that global understanding of how we do economy here locally, but also understanding our relationship with people that are newcomers to our community, and not only educating them, integration means educating them on how they can have better lives here, but they also need to know what their rights are and how they can participate as homeowners and as voters and participants in the American way of life. Two things that I think would be I'll quickly mention two things that I think that are really crucial to have, especially in a growing city, especially in a growing budget where it's up in the 80 million now, and is really tracking that taxpayer dollar. There's so many technologies and apps available that other local governments have implemented where there's transparency and accountability on the dollar that is being used. The taxpayer dollar, I feel, is sacred. It's the sweat off people's brows. It's their property that they're sharing with local government through tax. And so tracking it and making sure that there is a type of review and transparency on how that's happening in local government is pretty vital. And the second thing is setting up an ethics and compliance committee. Everything that's going on with city council, we don't have an elected mayor, we have a city manager structure. And so there really is not a checks and balance. I mean, staff reports to council, council either approves or votes, but there isn't a checks and balance built in to keep committees and spending and every member of that organization accountable to the taxpayer. So those two things, and a very strong recycling program, because our nature is sacred, and what we dump into the ground today, we're gonna pay with our nature later. So thank you for your time, thank you for running, and shout out to my mom, who is my hero, and she worked her butt off in this country.
Thank you. My name is Sherry Vollmer, and I do have a long name in this community, and that's from being a fifth generation here. And I come from a family of service. I myself am very active in the different service clubs that are around the area. I'm a commissioner on the Twin Falls Historic Commission, Historic Preservation Commission, sorry. And you know, my parents have always brought all of us up to respect where you live, and you know, be a part of society, be a positive part of society. I was born and raised here, and I have two adult daughters. I left for a short time, 10 years, went to Houston. So Tato, I can appreciate that our traffic, although we can have improvements, it is not nearly as bad. It took me an hour and a half to go 20 miles in Houston. So, and while I was down there, I attended school, and I do have a bachelor's degree in human resources management. I worked in real estate and human resources down there, and when my kids were done with high school, I said, we're moving back, and they were very happy to move back. Being in a big town has its pluses and it has its minuses, but Twin Falls has way more pluses than minuses, and that's thanks to everybody coming together and being a community and caring about where we live. And that's where I stand, is I care about where we live, and I care about us as a community. We're very diverse, and I appreciate that. And I think most everybody here appreciates that as well. And, you know, the city government, the city council, I would be one of 7 votes, but with those votes, many of the big initiatives that we go after, that's voted on by you, the citizens. So we work with the staff of the city, and work some of the details out with them, and then we take it to you to the vote. We also listen to you. That's the important thing, is that it doesn't matter where, it really doesn't matter where any of us are centered. It matters whether or not we listen to you, and we take that into consideration and see how that fits, and are open with you and give you the feedback that you're looking for to understand what's going on behind closed doors. As a realtor here, I think that gives me the opportunity to know the pulse of the community and the pulse of the Magic Valley as a whole. we are going to grow, and other towns do depend on us to grow, and we do have to grow properly. If anybody's been in Houston, they have a serious planning and zoning problem. They just kind of put up things wherever they want. And so, we need to grow thoughtfully, continue to grow thoughtfully. We're there, we're on that road, and we just need to have the knowledge and the care of being able to grow in a thoughtful manner. And so back to being in real estate, I know that gives me a good pulse on what's going on in the community. I know where the people are coming in, where they're moving to, where they're wanting to move to, where they would like to but can't right now because maybe there's not the infrastructure there available. So the infrastructure is very important to me. In order to make affordable housing available in the area, the city can take part in doing what they can for the infrastructure. If it's expensive for the builder, it's going to be expensive for you. So we're just one of the many partners that can be involved in that. And the other part, I've got 1 minute left, wow. The other part also I think that might sometimes gets lost in all of this is getting the right personnel. You need to have the right people in the right places, and that's something that, with my human resources background, can really help field people that are here and that are capable of doing the jobs that we need to fill those positions that we, as well as I'm sure many of the other business owners, need to fill those positions and attract the people that want to come here. All right, thank you.
Hello, thank you all for coming out tonight. I'm Dakota Cardenet. I've lived in this city for 20 years now. I decided to run because I'm kind of interested in politics, and I think I have a lot of good ideas and things to run for. So my wife is at work right now. She couldn't join us, unfortunately, but she's been a big help to me. So if she ever sees this, I love you, wife. You're awesome. I got my 2 kids. Have been very supportive. They're in school right now. I work in the mental health field, so I deal with a lot of the most marginalized people in our communities, some of the poorest people, some of the most down and out. So I think that's something I could bring to the table here, is something that that sort of perspective that we could bring to City Hall, so we don't leave our working families in the city behind. And one of my main issues is affordable housing. Housing is very expensive. I recently became a homeowner in December, so that was really nice. It was a huge load of stress off my head that I have something permanent and something stable that I could live under. And that's something I want to bring to all the other working families in our city, because I know what it's like to stress out nonstop about how long your paycheck will last, or how long you will be able to live in the house you're renting. And it's just a very terrifying thought to have that stress all the time. I've been there, and now I'm out of it. I really like to bring that to the other families in our communities. So guaranteed housing is something we don't really have a whole lot of in America, so I'd like to just bring that to Twin Falls. And what affordable guaranteed housing is, we get you into the house, and when you make a certain amount of money, we don't cut off the assistance or kick you out. You're guaranteed that house. You can make another 20 extra grand that year, and you still have that house over your head. And it's that stability that helps us grow and helps us prosper as people. So that's what I want to bring to this city, is that affordable guaranteed housing. And another thing is transit. A lot of people I work with have a really tough time getting around. We have Twin Falls Transit. Thank you, City Council, for bringing that in. It's awesome. But that grant only lasts about 3 years, and then we have to figure out how are we going to fund that program, or do we change that program into something else? What do we do there? I'd really love to bring in bus lines. I think that could help out a lot of people in our communities. So getting around really helps people, helps with jobs, helps cut down on traffic. That's something I think we really need in this city. Another thing I'd really like to bring in is traffic delineators. They're like the tall standing reflectors, kind of like Pocatello has. I don't know if you guys have been there recently, but we could help direct the flow of traffic without having to rip up our streets and cause months of construction programs to put in sort of a median, or to help kind of block off no turning lanes, so we could reduce accidents in the city. And I think that'd be a real cheap and effective way to do that. I probably have a lot of time left. I talk really fast, so sorry. I get a little nervous. I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, C2. And, oh, sorry. I don't think anyone's ever sad to have a political candidate talk less, so that's all right. Let's bring up the folks for seat 7. Go. You're gonna sit and hit the chair.
Yeah.
All right, you guys probably know the gig by now. You have 7 minutes each instead of 5. Who are you? Why do you want to serve on Twin Falls City Council? And a couple important issues. I'll give you the 1 minute from over on the side here.
First of all, I'm really happy to see everybody here who is here. Okay, was that any better? Okay. First of all, what prompted me to want to run for city council is I watch a lot of national news, and I've seen parents go before school boards in big cities, and I have seen them try to read from books that are in the public schools. And the children, the parents in these school board meetings are not allowed to read what the children can read in the schools. They are kicked out of the room. You cannot read that in public in front of adults, but yet this information is accessible to children in our schools. And I thought, that can't be happening here in Twin Falls. This is my hometown. I was born here in Twin Falls, at the old Magic Valley Memorial Hospital. I was educated here, including right here at CSI. This is my hometown. And it was a safe community growing up, and that's my goal, is to make it a safe, keep it a safe community for families to raise their children. And that was my primary issue for wanting to run. When I found out that this is going on right here in my city, I said, not in my city, no. So I'm stepping in to run for city council. And because I was born and raised right here, back in the 60s, there was an issue about wanting to move the airport. This is another issue that's been on my mind for decades. It was an issue with the airport. And the airport has not really grown at all since back in the 50s and 60s. Any regional airport needs freeway access. So it's a regional airport for the region to be able to use. People in the city don't even use the airport because there's only one airline that comes in and out from Twin Falls. And in order for it to grow the airport, the region needs more direct access to the airport. So I have brought this issue to Nathan Jerke, who is the ITD manager over this area of Idaho. Okay, there's been talk about a new bridge, which has been talked about for years. So I said, has anybody proposed having that new bridge linking the freeway to I-93? I-93 on the west side, it's already there. Link the new bridge over the canyon to make it accessible right into Highway 93, because 93 already goes west and curves south down towards the airport. It's already there. Has this even been brought up in the issue with talking about the new bridge? No. Hasn't even been considered to do that. Okay, well, so that really surprised me. Why not? We need freeway access for it to be a truly regional airport. We get more people coming to the airport grows, we're able to get more people, more flights in here, in and out of Twin Falls. Okay, so another issue that I have is with zoning. I personally am involved in a zoning issue right now in Twin Falls. Why doesn't, when areas of the city are needing to be rezoned or whatever by the city, why isn't every person in that zone given information, given, we want to rezone this issue and we're not given the input? Why are we not given the input when we live in that affected zone? And that hasn't been, to my knowledge, hasn't been addressed. And so I want to address that issue. I am a licensed insurance agent. And as a licensed insurance agent, I have gone into retirement for now so I can devote my full time. The city council is a part-time position, but I want to devote all the time I can so citizens can know they can come to me with any issues, and I will do absolutely everything I can. I will have the time. I will not work another job. I will have the time. I've gone into retirement so I can devote my full time as much as needed so citizens can know they can come to me with any issues, and I will do my very best to get those issues resolved the very best I can. Zoning, well, I already touched that, okay. Housing. We need housing. There is a senior community on the west side of town, which I think is wonderful. There is no senior community on the south side of town or on the east side of town. I would like to see the town grow in a more equal area, all equal areas of the town. Growth on the north, of course, is as far as we can go because of the canyon, which is understandable. So have more equal housing opportunities for affordable housing, for senior living in all areas of town. Trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to address right now. Like I said, my main goal is to keep it a safe community for families to grow their children. I love it here. It's my hometown, and I want to keep it a safe place. Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me. I am Ruth Pierce. I'm currently sitting on City Council, and I currently represent the city as mayor. A little background on me. I moved here over 45 years ago and have been involved in community and public service ever since. I'm just finishing up my second term on City Council, and as I mentioned, as mayor, the last two. And the reason I'm running again is I want to ensure that the city keeps the positive momentum, that it's the path that it's on. We have accomplished a lot of things in the last few years, and I want to continue to see that momentum. This year we did a lot. We rolled out TFT, the Twin Falls Transit Program. We expanded the airport to where we now have a second flight, and we're a Delta connection. We are built 2 fire stations and a fire training center, and we just passed a budget with the lowest tax rate in the history of Twin Falls, and I want to continue to see that happen. If elected, I become the senior member, the only senior member on the city council, and I think what I add is institutional knowledge, and the fact that I'm a CPA, I also understand the finances and can ensure we're in a good direction. We're very fiscally responsible city, and I want to continue to see it happen. The 2 issues, well, there's lots of issues, but there's 2 issues I think that are important to our citizens. One is the growth, and with growth comes infrastructure issues. We have done a very good job of managing that growth. We have actually expanded services without increasing the property tax rate, and that's huge. And we still need to keep ahead of the game. Tato mentioned impact fees. If it wasn't we want growth to pay for growth, and if it isn't for impact fees, growth is not going to pay for growth, and it would have to come out of the taxpayer's pocket. And we don't want that. The second big issue is because we're the hub city of an 8-county region of almost 300,000 people, our population doubles every day. And we have 54,000 citizens paying property taxes to support services for twice that number of people. That includes fire, police, roads, water, sewer, all infrastructure. In fact, public safety is huge. If we were just talking about the 54,000 residents we have 1.4 police officers per 1,000 citizens. When our population doubles, that cuts in half. So when an officer is over here taking care of a traffic accident, they don't ask if you're from Twin Falls, sorry, we can't help you. We take care of our visitors just like we take care of our citizens. And so we need to continue to find ways that we can look for other ways to fund services and to be able to keep our property tax low at the same time. 2 minutes, wow, let's see.
Historical renovation.
It's very important. Thanks for the question, Russ. You know, our town is a great community. Oh, I should mention, thank you, urban renewal. One of the things is we just closed down a 23-year urban renewal area, which if you look at downtown and some of the surrounding areas, thanks to urban renewal, our downtown is rejuvenated. The new revenue allocation area will actually be expanded and will go from Blue Lakes to Washington and over to this Rock Creek Canyon. And there's some great plans for continuing that beautification. There's lots of property available for investment and lots of opportunities for people in small business to move in here and be successful. Perfect timing.
Can I take just one more minute?
I know we have, well, we're a little bit over my time already because we started late.
I just wanted to address the historic
Oh,
issue.
preservation?
Yeah.
Can we do it in the after part? Maybe meet up with him out front? 'Cause that's what we're headed to next. I want to meet and mingle outside. We have our candidates with tables, but there's also ballot initiatives, political parties. Election day is November 7th, but we actually have really good election voter laws in Idaho. So early voting will begin next week as well. The county is out there. There's a lot of other elections outside of Twin Falls City going on. So just be aware of that when you're talking with people. They're like, that's not on my ballot. A lot of different ballots. And as I dismiss you out, we've heard from politicians, but you know, teachers have a lot to say too, not just politicians. So I'm going to take a moment. I have some flyers on the county's page, but if you're interested in the topic of local or state government, I teach a class, Poli-Sci 202 in the spring, Introduction to American State and Local Government. And I would love to have community members, not just political science students, come and join me for that. I moved it to the afternoon on Thursdays, just once a week, 2 to 4 o'clock, so it should be hopefully somewhat accessible to members of the public. We go to the legislature and meet with lawmakers. We go to the city and meet with city officials. We help host, we're gonna host a big forum like candidate political fair like this in the spring for all the primaries. So I would love to have a diverse class that includes citizens and younger students. Please consider joining me for Poli-Sci 202 if you're interested in the local and state government. With that, please go mingle. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you guys.